essentially beauty is authenticity and confidence.
Right.
And so everything I put on is meant to enhance who I am on the inside and who I see myself as, and to make me show up more confidently within how I see myself.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Intense Show. And today I have everyone's favorite, Moni, with me. So Moni is by profession a lobbyist, but she's also a great perfume TikToker and amazing content creator. So let's have a conversation with her. I was just going back through our some of our conversation that we had before. So you grew up in Nigeria, right?
I did. I was born in the UK though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I grew up in Nigeria, but I moved to the US when I was 17 to start college. So
oh, wow.
I've lived here for a while.
Wow. So did you move
years.
with your family or was it alone?
I moved with my family.
Okay.
Yeah, so my whole family lives in the US now.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And in US, did you always live in Chicago or?
No, I lived in DC for 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Prior to moving here. I've only lived in Chicago for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
But before that, I lived in DC, Washington, DC for 18 years.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And I remember you told me that you work in healthcare, but I only know you as Moni Talks Fragrance or Moni Talks Style. So I was healthcare, TikTok creator, how does it all work? What do you exactly do?
So I am actually a government relations professional, which a lot of people call a lobbyist.
Right.
And so but I'm a good lobbyist. Yep. I work for an organization that pushes for children's health care.
Oh, wow.
So I work on a lot of issues affecting children and their health and well-being, which ends up being a lot of issues that everybody else faces as well. So it's work that I'm very proud of. And I've always done health issues in all of my job throughout my career. But I particularly enjoy working on children's issues right now.
Right.
And just also getting to push for anything that helps people to access healthcare better, to receive the medications that they need, but especially for children to just be able to live like children is a real joy.
Yeah, that's just so sweet and profound. And I did not honestly know that about you. I just knew over the top of my head that you worked something in healthcare, but I wasn't exactly sure. But this is great work that you're doing.
Yes, it's intense too, Intense Oud, right? But no, it's really intense work. And so I enjoy being able to escape from it on my socials and to talk about the other things that fill up my life. I really love clothes. I'm scent obsessed. I'm obsessed about how everything smells.
Right.
So being able to talk about fragrance and what it does for your day and how it fits into lifestyle, that's wonderful to me because you always need to balance out life, So I really enjoy being able to be my fun, lighter side on social media.
Right. That's so interesting. And what really caught my attention when you just said that is that you like how everything smells. So it's not just you, it's not just perfumes and you. What did you mean by how everything smells like?
So how food smells affects how we experience it.
Right.
And how we taste. But everything around me is important to me as far as how it smells. So my home, and I use only one particular plugin in my home,
Okay.
But I have some sprays. I have bathroom air freshener
Right.
that I need to have, and I travel with it. And
So
I
even
keep it.
like you're in hotels, you go with your
I go
own
with my
bathroom.
own
Oh,
air
wow.
freshener for the bathroom, air freshener for the room,
Mhm.
and they sell these little like Febreze bottles. I
Right, right.
have tons of those,
Mm-hmm.
but everything matters. So from I go to sleep with a diffuser that is
Mm-hmm.
also a humidifier. And remember I was telling you that
Yeah.
I drop my own fragrance oils
Yeah,
into
yeah.
my diffuser and my humidifier.
Right,
So
right.
like the scent that I need to sleep with is like a particular scent. So
Wow.
I'm not playing when I say I'm literally obsessed. My car has
Yeah.
air fresheners and
Wow.
scents that, I use for the car
Mm-hmm.
that help me like when I'm traveling or commuting to work. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And when you're like, if you have a car freshener and like, you have certain scents in your bathroom, your living room, or like in your diffuser, and um, has it ever been like the scent affects your mood, or the mood is what affects your scent pick for the day, or
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
That's a really good question. I think it's sort of both ways. I would say that the scent can for sure affect my mood.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in a place and I'm just not enjoying what it smells like, I'm probably not going to be a happy person.
Oh, right.
And there are some days when I wear a fragrance, like even I wear a fragrance every day, even when
Mm-hmm.
I'm working from home. And sometimes I might put on a fragrance when I'm working from home and something I'm working on is particularly intense or
Right.
really, really serious. And I might have worn something really playful that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm just not feeling like a boss lady today. Like
Right.
I'm not able to get myself together to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And I would change. I would
Mm-hmm.
change my outfit so that I can change my fragrance
Right.
to match what I'm trying to do. And I know it
Right.
sounds like I'm spending a lot of time on this. I'm not spending a lot of
Yeah,
time
it's
on
just
this. It's
like,
so natural
yeah.
and part of just my existence that
Right.
I can just make it happen without that much effort.
Mm-hmm.
And also like people around you too, the way they smell. I
Mm-hmm.
love new baby smells and
Uh-huh.
like, but even like baby powder and lotions, and, oils for the baby, like you have to
Right.
also care about those things,
Right,
and
right.
like when you're giving a baby a bath, like a lavender scented
Mm-hmm.
bath situation is going to get them to relax. So
Yeah.
just incorporating those kinds of little elements to me also bring a touch of luxury to my day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And depending
awesome.
on what I'm doing, if I have a big meeting at work, there are particular fragrances I will go to
Mm-hmm.
and particular perfumes I'll pick
Mm-hmm.
because when I wear them, I just feel like a
Yeah.
boss.
Right.
So
That was gonna be my next question. What is your boss lady perfume?
my boss lady perfume. I really like wearing Exalté by Fumi Monet when
Okay.
I'm going to meetings, when I'm presenting, when it's something work related. Something about that fragrance really makes me feel like a boss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a rose and pink pepper fragrance. And I really like it. I like the way it blends, but most especially, I like how it makes me feel. So
Right.
that's usually my go to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's smooth enough and projects enough that it's also going to be pleasant to a lot of people.
Right,
So
right.
it's not super overpowering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. And like I wanted to like also talk about your like you work with like this really intense job like healthcare and like children's healthcare, and then with an added twist of like lobbying for healthcare policies and stuff. So I was curious, like, along with all of that, and then you still make time or find time to find your happy place on your social media by talking about perfumes. And I understand that picking a scent according to your mood, or like just anything to do with scents comes naturally to you, so you're not spending a whole lot of time on that. But TikTok content creation, or like even like any other social media platform, content creation, in my experience, it's hard. It's like
Yeah.
you have to, and especially if you're like an influencer like yourself, you gotta do everything on your own. You don't have like an whole marketing team like most perfume brands would have. So how has that journey been for you? Like, how did you start and where do you feel you are right now?
That is a really good question, and it's so true. It is time consuming. I would say that when I first started, I was just like, this is too much. Why did I do this? Why did I even feel like doing this? And then you start connecting with people, and then it
Right.
makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really yet at that level of putting out like super amazing graphics. Right now, I'm just like, I want to keep it easy for my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I record on a phone, I edit right there in the TikTok app.
Mm-hmm.
And I've now learned to do shorter form.
Right.
So something quick. People also like education. And so when I do, sometimes I will do a longer video, but I've also tried to make it simple on myself. Another thing
Right.
to do that is like a super practical tool is to just batch record.
Right.
So when I have a block of time, I'll batch record a bunch of videos and have them ready to go so that I can drop, one a day or something and just have a bunch for the week.
Right.
And another really important thing is to have your ideas written down. So as they come to you throughout the day, as you're changing fragrances or going through your work day, it's really good to write those ideas down so that you can get to them when you have time and create content around them.
Right.
So, yeah.
And do you feel like just because you are writing these ideas down and like ever since you started this, do you feel like it has also sparked your creativity that helps you in like your other, like maybe your job or like other tasks as well?
Yeah, I still haven't made a connection with my content to work. Although some of my coworkers were like, I was searching for this fragrance and I saw your video. I'm like, oh no, you're not supposed to see me. But that has been kind of cool. But I would say that it is definitely a good creative outlet. And although I don't do videos at my job, I write a lot.
Right.
And it kind of comes out in my content. Like you can tell that like sometimes I can be really wordy or like descriptive about things.
And
that's because
your one-liners are just on so much on point.
I do write a lot of talking points and, sound bites and things like that in my line of work. And so I guess there is that connection there. It translates on both sides really in that way.
Right. While we were on the subject, I also had this question, and we have been asking other guests as well, because when I was setting up this podcast, and one of the themes that we wanted to follow for this show was beauty and lifestyle, and basically everything about beauty. And men also invest in beauty and self-care, but it's more for us, for as women. So I wanted to ask, like, what is your concept of beauty? Like, what does beauty mean to Moni?
Well, I feel like beauty, I think we should also let go of this idea that only certain people get into beauty, because even if we want to go with the binaries like male or female ideas of beauty, even within those categories, like some people think that the kind of woman that's into, say, fragrance or makeup is like somebody who's shallow and has a lot of time on her hands. And that's absolutely not right.
True,
And at the very core, if anybody's, I hope we're all grooming ourselves. I hope we're all washing ourselves. So however way you identify, you're going to be into some sort of cosmetic, some sort of beauty product.
Right.
But for me, essentially, beauty is authenticity and confidence.
Right.
And so everything I put on is meant to enhance who I am on the inside and who I see myself as, and to make me show up more confidently within how I see myself. So it's not meant to be a mask. It's not meant to be something that creates a whole new person. It's supposed to literally enhance who I am.
Right.
But I think the most important thing is to know who you are and to be as authentic as you can in how you show up.
Right. That's
yeah.
so beautiful. Like, yeah, like beauty is authenticity. And like, yeah, that's so good. Because a lot of the times people think like you said, people have been associating beauty and cosmetics and whatever as a mask.
Yeah.
Like people think of beauty as something on the outside,
Yeah.
whereas it's supposed to be something that comes from within, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely comes from within. And also that it is supposed to help you enjoy living your life.
Right.
And existing
Definitely.
well. And, you know, of course, I'm a little bit older now. And so I don't necessarily care a lot about like people's concepts of beauty. And I know what, you know, matters to me. But certainly when I was younger, there were times where you just really don't see a lot of representation that looks like you.
Yeah.
And or that you are fed with a lot of information about beauty that doesn't feel authentic to you, doesn't feel true to who you are. And so I think that's one of the wonderful things about social media is that it connects so much of us, and it connects us to other people that look like us and that, you know, represent how we see ourselves. But also it can be a lot of information as well.
Right.
And sometimes it can feed you negative information or disinformation. And so you have to also be sure of who you are and know who you are, so that ideas of like size or height or skin tone or aging aren't what are shaping how you see yourself. Right? First of all, we're all going to get old.
Yep.
We've all had a day where our skin hasn't done what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Or, you know, who am I going to be upset at about not being tall? You know, like it just
that was something natural, right?
Like, you just have to live your life.
Yeah.
Right. And not allow. So that's why it's just really important just to know who you are at the core.
Right.
And then find information that helps you to feel better about that. Yeah, that's
such a profound thing, and like that's so well put from you. Speaking about representation, I am curious, like, so with people of color and especially women, it's always like, you know, there are some unsaid barriers and like there are some glass ceilings, what do you call it? Like they seem they're not there, but they are.
Absolutely.
So what, like if I ask you as Moni, like as a person of color and as a woman, and this goes like either way, like whether it's in your like day job or while you're, you know, working as a content creator for yourself, for your own pleasure, do you see any challenges or like have you faced any challenges, and like what do you think is the biggest challenge that you felt like there was there but no one around you understood because they probably didn't look like you or they weren't a person of color, but it was something personal to you and you had to navigate through it on your own?
That is a really great question. And I love the idea of thinking about it through the lens of what I do professionally and what I'm attempting to do as a content creator. And the truth is that on both sides, there's always this need to push to be able to show up as yourself, right? And to show up in the fullness of yourself. And so, you know, as a woman of color in the workplace, there are more people that look like me and and there's more representation. But for the longest time, there was always this idea that somehow you are where you are or you occupy the space that you have as some sort of favor. Like you're just, you know, you're there to tick a box.
The DAI quotas or
that
whatever.
kind of thing. Exactly. And for a while, it does play a number on how you see yourself.
Right.
Because you really start to think, really, though, am I? But then I'm like, no, went to college and I
Yeah.
put in
You
my
worked hard
I
for
worked
it.
hard. I graduated. I got my master's degrees and all the things. And I really wish it was a favor. Like, you know how hard it has
Yeah.
been to be the only person sometimes and
Mhm.
so there's always that.
Mhm.
I'm grateful to have had some really great mentors
Right.
that have shown and fed me and poured into me, that have allowed me to know that you don't internalize those other people's concepts and ideas of who you are.
Right.
And you also don't let it diminish your sense of ability
Right.
or your skills.
Mhm.
But that also, you don't rest on it either. So you don't show
Oh.
up with a chip on your shoulder and you don't think that, well, they need to give it to me because I am a person of color and a woman. No,
Mhm.
you say, I am a highly skilled professional
Mhm.
who has the requisite skills to meet the duties of this position, and I am educated, I have a pedigree, and I can do it.
Right.
And that you always strive to be as excellent as possible because you're representing yourself, you're representing a lot of people.
Right.
And then also, whether or not you're the only, somebody's watching. And so you want to try to be a good example for whomever's watching.
Right.
And then as far as social media goes, especially within the beauty content, in beauty content creators and just sort of like that industry and the marketing around it, there is always still a very poor balance between how diverse we all are,
Right.
but also how there's diversity in how we see beauty.
Right.
And unfortunately, what you see are that the brands still mostly gravitate to a particular look or a particular person because they want to either make that remain the standard of beauty, or for them, that is the standard of beauty. And they're short-sighted in realizing that it's, no, like we're such we're fed by diversity and that we're made better by it. And so sometimes there is a struggle, and I'm like, not really that big of a following like a lot of other folks. But when you look at the people that do have broad following, or people with less followers but have a lot more brand support, it's because they have a particular look.
Right.
And they're more inclined to go with that particular look. And so I put most of that responsibility, though, on brands and people who are marketing products to ensure that they're thinking about it in a way that allows to give opportunities to more diverse looks, more diverse voices, more diverse concepts of beauty. And that we start changing it, because it's the people that hold power that need to really make the changes. You get exhausted trying to convince folks about your right to exist or your right to show up in a certain way.
That's so profound, because that has been the issue for the longest time, and not just in like marketing and retail and beauty industry, but like across all verticals.
Yes.
That should be the people in power who should be, willing to take the first step and, work out solutions, rather than the people who are, I don't want to say the word victimized, but like people at the end of, the receiving end.
The receiving end, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, and that's really true, because, there's this quote that I really love. There's too much that is beautiful and awe-inspiring about being Black to spend that time fighting about the right to exist.
Wow.
And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's really the essence of it.
Right.
And I think about that for any minoritized group of people, whether it is like based on your race, your nationality, your sexual orientation, your religion, your abilities, or whatever. Like, I think about people that are just usually excluded, and that you're emotionally, you're dealing with a lot when that is going on, when you fit into one of those categories. And so it is really the people that hold the power that are supposed to be the ones that spend more time thinking about it.
Right. Interesting. You talked a bit about, like, that you had
That's
very
a lobbyist
good...
talking there too.
That's a lobbyist.
Government relations coming in play
Right.
right there.
That's so
Advocacy.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because you work within these sectors, you know the
Absolutely.
gravity of the problems and the potential of the solutions,
Yeah.
simple solutions, right? Um, I also wanted to ask you, you mentioned about like how you had mentors, and this was something like I just had an observation that whenever we collab with you and create content with you, or even when you tag us in a perfume review, this is like slowly about your perfume content creation, that there's so many people who look up to you, and you don't really have a whole lot of followers on TikTok. You're like one of the
100. Yeah.
micro influencers, but you have like such a great engagement on your videos, and there's people talking and there's people valuing your opinions.
That's sweet.
So do you feel like sometimes you are also kind of like a mentor, and do you feel like there are people, have you noticed that people are looking up to you as a mentor
Oh.
maybe?
First of all, thank you for that. But, I'm still amazed that anybody listens to me. So if and I'm definitely a micro influencer, but I am so moved by
Really?
every
Yeah.
single person, because I'm like, literally, they saw a
Right.
video and were like, click follow.
Mhm.
And so I may not have hundreds of thousands. I don't even have 10,000 followers, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm just so like
Do you
inspired.
feel
Like,
moved and
I
touched?
do. I'm so touched. I'm so moved by everyone.
Mm.
But I also think that I've never been like had a viral moment where I just
Right.
like wake up to like, 100, 10,000, 20,000 followers over something.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've earned every single follow.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's also because somebody listened to something I said or watched
Mhm.
something and it resonated with them.
Right.
And so for me, it's really important that I maintain my authenticity in that
Right.
way, because that's why people came
Mhm.
and joined whatever it is that I'm doing.
Mhm.
And so I want to be that person. I want to
Right.
be consistent in that way.
Mhm.
And so, but also I am fully also just like, you see my videos, girl, I can have a kiki by myself, like, and that it really touches me though when people write back and say, I checked something out that you said and it's so true.
Wow.
Or can you help me find this?
Oh, wow.
Like some people will ask you for like, oh, what can you recommend a wedding day fragrance? I'm
Oh,
like,
wow,
that is
that's
such a big deal.
Yeah. Like they want you to kind of be a part of that big moment
Oh
like
my
that.
God, it's such a big deal. I had somebody who wrote to me once and they were like, I really like your style. I just recently, I'm a breast cancer survivor.
wow.
I had a double mastectomy. And so
Oh.
I'm trying to get back into clothes. And
Mm.
can you make some recommendations for what I
Wow,
can wear that can, help me kind of
That's so nice.
meet my new body or my new style? And I literally, I cried so
Aw.
hard. And then I sent a bunch of links and they wrote me back and they got a bunch of them too.
Wow.
Or a friend of mine who was just like right now on a trip in Europe, and she wrote to me and she was like, can you help me find some outfits? And I sent her some stuff and she got some stuff and she sent me a picture. She was like, thank you so
Aw.
much for this. And that stuff means so much to me. So,
Yeah,
and
like they not just ask you for opinions, they value your
they
opinions.
value and they want you to be part of something that's important to them or part of their life in a way that is meaningful. That's so important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. That eventually, if you see, like at the end of the day, that's exactly what matters
Absolutely.
the most.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
so
fun and it's great. And I'm grateful for social media that keeps us all connected in some ways, like I said, I'm just as grateful as I was at 60 followers, because I started with just my cousin following me.
really?
I'm dead serious.
That's so cute.
And to have like, I think I have 6,500 plus people now. I mean, it's a big deal to me. Like,
Right,
who?
yeah.
What? Me? It's
Yeah.
great. And yeah.
Yeah, and you do have like you have come a long way, because I feel like even if you have like 100K followers or something, but people are like, just bashing you or whatever, it's not worth
it's
it,
not
right?
worth
It
it.
takes a toll on your
That's a
mental
good.
health as well.
That's absolutely right. And I also feel the way about what I say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to like everything,
Right.
but I don't have to be unnecessarily negative.
Right.
And I know that there are some people who like that's their platform. That's their identity. Like they just want to be the naysayer and they want to be the one that's like, why, to be negative about something that everybody likes or to be, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And for me, the challenge is to have fun, but to also use my faculties. Like you can be more descriptive than saying this fragrance stinks.
Like
you gotta have better vocabulary than
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Like, come on, like, okay. Like, what does that do to help anybody? Why don't you like it? Does it smell? What is scent category is it giving? Like, what is it creating for you? And there's also no need to bash a brand if you feel like you don't like something. Like there was a particular fragrance that came out and people were so upset because they ended up not liking the fragrance. They made it sound like the fragrance house put it out just to upset them personally.
Oh my God. That's so extra. Like
so extra. And that goes back to what you're saying about like not, you can have a whole lot of followers, but if they're all negative, then what's the point, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't have to like everything, but I'm a pretty positive person in my regular life. And so I'm going to still find a way to be descriptive about what I'm saying without necessarily making it, putting down the brand, because there's a lot of effort that goes into creating these things. And you can say that you don't like something without being nasty.
Right. And do you feel like, because, when I'm only asking because I have personally felt that social media can be very unforgiving, especially to women. And like, I feel like there is some sort of like disproportionate online harassment that women have it harder than, male content creators. No stereotyping, of course. Like, I'm sure men also have it the hard way. But since you talked about like how social media, and you're so grateful about it as well, that social media is bringing people together, but there's also a negative or a dark side to it, right? Like it does. And I see this like with a lot of content creators that at one point it does get like really troublesome for them, so they go on a sabbatical and like take a break and whatever. But do you feel like you being positive about everything, and even if you have something negative to say, you frame it in a not so nasty way, do you think that helps in like toning down that criticism that you might get from others? Or like, is it just like if people are bashing you, they're bashing you for no reason at all?
That's a really good question, but it's also such a good observation to highlight about how disproportionately women are targeted for kind of bashing and negative commentary on their content, especially women of color. Let's just keep it real.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's keep it
other
real.
women that identify with other categories that are, routinely excluded. It's almost like this thing about like people carry the same kinds of things that you experience in society. This concept of this idea that a woman cannot be bold or confident or clear, decisive, really, about something. It's like you see the people, like folks that bake. And they're like, my, they make something from scratch. And people are like, you're a liar. You didn't make that from scratch. And I'm like, it's bread. It's bread. You really have to put her down because she made sourdough bread from scratch. Or she makes her home pretty and it brings her happiness and joy and she's sharing it with you. It's also like, move on.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody's content is for me.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no reason to look at them and say, so they talked about an outfit that they liked, or they talked about a fragrance that they like, and you're going to leave a nasty comment and say, but your weave is bad.
Oh.
Like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Why
Who
are
hurt
so
you
unhappy?
exactly?
Do you know how quick it is to scroll past something?
Yeah.
It takes way more time
to type and
to type the nasty comment.
Yeah.
And it just happens to women way too often.
Mm.
I will say that I don't necessarily know if my positivity shields me from bashing. I've certainly had a couple here and there. And I'm pretty sure that my positivity is irritating to certain people, or like, you know, maybe I'm too, you know, perky and or whatever you want to call it.
That's what I have noticed too. Like, some people just hate people who are always happy,
or
like
chirpy or something, and it's like,
why?
I mean, okay,
who hurt you?
Take a chill pill, relax.
Yeah.
But also just scroll past.
Yeah, exactly.
Block me even if you know if it's that serious. So I don't know if it necessarily. It probably hasn't helped, because maybe I would have more followers if I were like maybe more controversial, or presented like more of a, I don't know. My point is, like, at the end of the day, I'm showing up as myself, and I need to be able to recognize myself. I can't put on an act just because it's social media.
Yeah.
And I will have zero longevity. Like, I can't even pretend in that way. I'm too old, first of all. But also, like, it's not worth it to me to be anybody other than who I am. And it will resonate with some people, and it wouldn't resonate with some people.
Right.
But I will say that maintaining that kind of authenticity and regularity about myself has shielded me from people having the ability to make too much commentary about me.
Right.
Because I don't also open up too much avenues for people to... I don't ask people about what they think about, you know, my hair, or like, you know, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, it's, you know. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm kind of long-winded now. I'm going around in circles. But basically, I just think that, like we said at the very beginning, you just have to stay true to who you are. Right. Show up as yourself. And also, hey, on a practical level, you use that block button too. Yeah. If somebody's just being negative on your page and leaving nasty comments, block them. Yeah. And move on.
That's so interesting. So I could not think of anything better to, you know, follow after this very intense conversation. So
to try out.
Brought out your favorite fragrances, or what I think could be your next favorite fragrances.
Okay, these are all new to me.
Yeah, they all are. Interestingly,
I want to get a picture of that lineup.
Sure.
Really quickly. Okay. You know, always making content. Everything's content.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I love people. I am a person who takes a lot of pictures.
Me too.
And like videos and Instagram reels or whatever. And I absolutely love it when other people do it too.
Yes.
Like, I understand the need for some people to live in the moment. But I also feel like, you know, it takes only like 5 seconds to take out your camera and like capture a memory.
It doesn't take a lot of time at all.
Okay, so I have first up this fragrance, Maison Exotic. I think we got that.
Maison Luxe.
Maison Luxe Exotic Amber. And you can probably guess that
it's very ambery, maybe.
It's very ambery.
But, you know, amber can be made up of a lot of different things. I read up on amber once because somebody had asked me a question, like, what is amber supposed to smell like? And amber is really a name that is meant to capture... They don't use natural amber anymore. So it really could be like a makeup of several things.
Oh, right. It's more
There's
synthetic.
Some particular components, not necessarily, but it's like a derivative of more than one thing now. Ooh, already. Ooh, this is really good. Ooh, it is ambery. So it's warm, spicy, Sweet vanilla.
Mm-hmm. I pick a hint.
Spiciness.
Yeah, I pick a hint
Cardamom.
of like some tangy notes as well.
Maybe a little citrus, but there's definitely some spices and vanilla that make up some ambery notes. So, what do you think?
I think this is a beautiful scent.
This one is nice.
Yeah, it's really good for this summer season when you want
Not
something
heavy
like
at all.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maison Luxe Exotic Amber. Ooh, what are the notes?
So I think there's like some tangerine in there. There's some amber. There's vanilla. Perhaps a hint of saffron.
That's where the spiciness is coming from. Yeah, okay. Not cardamom, saffron. I can see that. It's a freshie mixed in with the citrus, the spice, and then a sweetness from a vanilla. I like this one. I'm catching the citrus now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The citrus is like, I think in the middle.
Underneath, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Exotic Amber by Maison Luxe. I like it.
So we're going to wait for dry down and then we'll play an interesting game at the end.
Okay.
But this is something you also talked to me about this fragrance.
So curious about that.
Yeah, I remember you texting me about it.
Like, do you have it? So I saw that this is supposed to be tropical, but let me just clear my mind and see like what I get. Okay. There's definitely some tropical notes in there, but I'm not loving them.
Okay.
They're touch synthetic with some sweetness. Let me give it a second. Because there's also something that's a little bit soapy as well.
Right, could be. So they have like
pineapple.
They have pineapple, mango, and coconut in there.
That coconut is making it like sunscreeny a little bit. But I'm catching the pineapple.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm catching the mango. But this is one that it's probably a lot nicer on the dry down. So I'll spray that one. I'm going to leave that one for a minute.
Yeah.
But I can see why this is the pineapple is showing up quite a bit, especially the summertime. Yeah.
So this fragrance here is by a new brand that we just added. It's called Risala.
Okay.
So we're adding like a lot of new brands and kind of like diversifying our scent portfolio as well.
Okay.
Well, there are the usual Middle Eastern houses, but we also want to like,
get new ones.
Introduce more new ones.
Absolutely.
So
this one is Risala Special Blend by House of Risala. Okay. Yep. Man, the bottles,
yeah.
Like pretty exquisite. I love a fragrance bottle where you can see the liquid on the inside, even if it has some shading and color.
Yeah. It gives an idea like how much of your fragrance
is left.
Yeah.
Which matters.
Yeah, especially if you have to restock and you got to make sure that whatever brand you're buying from has that in stock.
Okay. This one is a little bit heavy on the alcohol, but it's a little bit of a freshy, soapy a little bit. What kind of is this marketed as?
So it's marketed as a unisex blend of different, like very Arabian, very Middle Eastern fragrance. I picked like a hint of fruity and sweet notes, but with spices.
I definitely catch more spicy notes, but not spicy woody, but just straight spicy, like a saffron, kind of like pepper. For sure. Yeah, it's interesting. It's not really one that I can put in a particular category.
Yeah, it's hard to like put it in one box.
Sweet, but not like, it's not sweet. It's fresh.
Yeah.
Rather than sweet.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to, it's not floral, it's not fruity.
Yeah. And it's also like even the spices, it's not warm spicy, so you can't call it aromatic either.
No, you can't. No, it's not like cardamom.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have like some, it has like a little bit of pepper, spicy saffron. So ginger, even like that kind of like fresh spiciness.
Right.
For sure.
Okay, this one here, it's a very interesting fragrance.
The bottle is cute.
Yeah, so the bottle looks very vintage and antique.
Yeah.
The fragrance name is Antique.
Okay.
And I don't know how this brand Latafa did it, but they literally took the word antique or vintage and put it in a bottle like a fragrance.
Okay.
I don't know how they did it.
Okay.
So let's try this fragrance.
So it's like what you would think an antique would smell like. Let's see.
Yeah, like antique furniture, jewelry.
Wait.
You know what I'm getting at, right?
Wait. You're so right. It's also like coppery.
Yeah,
like,
copper, like the bottle.
I don't
like
know
you
what
see the
copper
bottle?
would smell like, but it's really like an antique copper type. Okay, there's smelling like, oh my God, this reminds me so much of Gris Charnel.
Really? Does
yes, it settles that cardamom and black tea combo.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe not the fig that's in that one, but the cardamom, tea, warm spiciness.
You got
vanilla.
all the notes right. Yeah.
That's exactly what this reminds me of so much. Oh, yeah. Cardamom, yep. Tea, freshness. Could even have a little bit of ginger, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I
think you can put it under the
That's
bar.
like one of my favorite fragrances. So this smells a lot like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you like antique, I think you'll also really like this one.
Okay.
It's called Liam by Latafa.
Liam.
I feel like antique is more unisex, whereas Liam is more leaning masculine. But I guess anyone can wear anything scent, right?
Let's see. They're so similar. You're right. Is this one by Latafa as well?
Yeah, they're both by Latafa.
Okay.
So the antique is from their niche Emirati collection, which is like one of their higher end fragrances.
You know what? This one has more vanilla than this one. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
But the same. There's woody. It's a warm, spicy, woody scent.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how this one could possibly be more attractive to guys, but honestly, I would wear it.
Yeah. And
this one just smells like, now I can't get the smell, like the idea of copper out of my head, but this is very similar to Gris Charnel as well.
Mm-hmm. And
I find it to be fresher than this one.
Really? Yeah. I think there's like a hint of some tea leaves.
Tea leaves for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe cardamom.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Cardamom or fennel, either one.
Or fennel, one of those. Yep. It's light and fresh. Gris Charnel is actually a fragrance that I love on guys, but I love it on me too, and I wear it all the time. These two are very similar. This is a little bit deeper. This is a little bit on the lighter side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About Liam for Latafa, there were a lot of guys who thought that Khamra was more leaning feminine, and they found it very sweet. And I recommended them to layer that with Liam, and Khamra combo. I think you should try it too.
I can see that. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
This will... Oh, yeah. I could see how that would be really, really beautiful. But this is so nice. And I can definitely see if a guy or any person thinks that Khamra is too sweet and settles too much into like a sweet, boozy note. This one is woody without being boozy.
Right.
And it's a little lighter on the... It's more fresh than sweet. But still has like very pleasant, smooth tea and refreshing kind of spices as well.
Right. Awesome.
I like it.
Awesome.
I want to go back to, how do you say that one?
Ajayab.
Ajayab. Okay. Pineapple, for sure. It's very ripe fruit. Yeah.
Okay, let's play a quick game.
Quick game.
Some of them have dried down, I hope so.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with Maison Luke's Exotic Amber and go
Okay.
all the way towards Liam.
Okay.
And you smell one of them, and within like first 3 seconds, you're
Okay.
gonna say either I should ring you up for it or you'll pass.
No,
Okay.
ring me up or pass. I love that game.
Okay. So
You know, I
let's
come here all the time. I'm like, ring me up.
yeah.
Because I fall in love with so much. Okay.
Mhm.
So, Exotic Amber. 100% ring me up.
Okay.
Uh,
Ajayab.
Ajayab. Pass.
Okay.
Risala.
Blend of Risala.
Pass.
Mhm.
Antique. Oh, ring me up. Ring
Okay.
me up. And
Last but not the least, Liam.
Liam. Ring me up. Where's my card? Let me give you my card right now.
Yep,
Ring me up.
all ready for you.
Yes,
Thank
3
you.
out of 5.
Yeah, I'm so like I've kind of like, because of talking to you and like, you know, helping you out big sense, I think
You kind of know
I've
me a
kind
little
of
bit.
being like predictable, you know, being able to predict what you would like or what you wouldn't.
Cool.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Moni, and it's always a pleasure. So any last thoughts that you'd like to share?
It's absolutely a pleasure to be here, spending time with you all. You know, I love coming to the Intense Oud Experience Center, mostly because you all give a personal touch and you allow people to take their time. You can spend as much time as you want trying things out, making decisions, and you always make great recommendations based on things that people like. And so that personal touch is what brings me coming back. But this is an absolute honor to be able to talk about what we both love and enjoy, fragrances, and just about life as well. And so thank you all for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's it from this episode of The Intense Show. Catch you all in the next one.